right. Yep. I hear the TV. Hello, good afternoon or good evening, everyone. Hello, good afternoon or good evening, everyone. Mm-mm. Sorry, turn it down. All right. All right, getting all of my things together here. Hey, hey, good evening, good evening. Good evening, good evening. All right. I want to welcome everybody in. Hey, thank you guys for jumping on and joining in tonight. This is the episode 3 of Truthful Conversations with Jolie. So thank you guys so much for coming on. I am live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and I have also added Clubhouse. So I am getting more in the habit of showing up, making sure that I am being more visible and more transparent to my audience. And so um, I want to give a couple of people some time to jump on before I get started. But tonight is going to be really, really good. I've actually been sitting on this for about a week and a half now. So, nope, not having been that long. I'll take that back. Seems like that long because I couldn't share it right then. I had to wait to give it to you. So, definitely want to first thank everybody for tuning in on whichever platform that you are on. Um, this episode is sponsored by Melanie Ann's Boutique. So if you have not visited the website, please visit melanieannsboutique.com. Check out her boutique. She has two. One is in Duncanville and the other is in Frisco. Definitely check her out. Definitely want to say hello to those that may be listening out of state, those that are within the DFW, Houston area, whatever. You guys share the live, share. Like I said, this is going to be very interesting, and I won't be on here long, but I definitely want to get on and share um, what was dropped into my little spirit. Hello, y'all. Come on, man. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And those that jump on, they'll jump on. So, um, the title, Are You a Spare? I had to make some notes because this was like really, really good to me. And so, in being a spare, I thought, what is a spare? And so I went and I looked up the definition of a spare. A spare is a temporary tire or what they consider a donut. The only purpose for the spare is to get you home or to the mechanic shop so that way it can be replaced with a new tire. If anyone has ever gotten a flat tire, it is not fun depending on where you are. Sometimes you getting a spare can cause damage to the car. It can cause damage to the rim of the tire, which then means it's hard for them to just replace it. It um, takes a little more to fix, to unbend the tires and things like that. So when we think about a spare, it has minimal use, right? So if we just stop right there, are you a spare in other people's lives? Let's really let that simmer. Are you a spare in other people's lives? Is your sole purpose for being attached to someone is for them to temporarily use you to get to where they're trying to go? Okay, let that simmer in just right there. Good evening, everybody that's coming on. Thank you so much for being on. So the question I posed is, are you a square in other people's lives? I gave the definition of a spare. It is a temporary tire. The only purpose is to get you home or to the mechanic shop to then get replaced with a real one. So when I hear that, get replaced with a real one, so is the spare, is it not considered a real tire? Is it considered something fake? Are you a spare in somebody's life? Are you considered a fake replica of what they actually think that they want or need? And are they just using you until they think they find something real? Good evening, y'all. Come on in. Okay, so we got that part done. So let's talk about the disadvantages, because there's not a lot of advantages to being a spare unless, well, the only thing in my eyes that I see is it's going to get you to a temporary place. It's going to get you there, get you to a place in enough time to where you can get something replaced, right? So let's talk about the disadvantages, right? On a spare, you can only go, they tell you don't go over 40 miles per hour. Some people tell you 30, but they tell you right at 40, you're about safe. When you start getting into 50 and 60 and speeding on the tire, on the spare, or what they call the donut, you then can cause an additional flat. You can cause the donut to go flat. You can cause another blowout. You can cause loss of the vehicle, because then you're messing up other things. If you're riding on it too long, if you're going too fast, it can cause you to have an accident. It can cause you to cause other people to have an accident because you lose control of the vehicle, right? You can't travel fast on a donut. You can only maintain a certain speed, a certain level. So I'm a spare. I can't move fast, and too much movement or moving at an accelerated speed can cause more damage than it does helping, right? Another thing that I saw, it said that the spare, you can continue to use it over and over and over again, right? So I'm telling you all the things of a spare tire. So let's look at this from a different standpoint, okay? How many of us have been attached to those who have counted us as spares in their lives? And we have tried to move too fast because we think that's what we're supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be in this lane with this person. I'm supposed to be doing this. Sorry, y'all. I'm supposed to be moving fast. I'm supposed to be doing what they're doing, and we're going thinking, we are supposed to go the same speed or the same level that they are, only to find out us moving too fast has caused a flat for us, right? So now we got a flat tire because we moved way too fast. It wasn't our lane. That wasn't um, the vehicle that we were supposed to be driving. We done hopped in this vehicle, and that wasn't the vehicle we were supposed to be in. So we done got a flat. We done got a blowout. So our blowout could be the friendship or the business ship or whatever the ship was we thought we were connected to, that has blown up in our face. So now there is no more movement. We're at a standstill. If you've ever had a blowout, there is no more movement after that. You're going to sit over there until the tow truck comes or until somebody comes to help you change the tire, right? So now we've had this blowout. Now it's no more of the relationship we're trying to figure out. When you have a blowout, you like, oh my God, like what happened? You trying to figure out what happened. You thinking everything is good. You think you're traveling good. You think y'all are connected and everything is going well until that blowout happens. Now you're trying to figure out, what did you run over? Where did things go wrong? What happened? I thought my momentum was good. We think all of these things when a blowout happens. Loss of vehicle. Guess what? We were a spare. We're temporary. We thinking we're in situations that we're supposed to be there a long time. Baby, we were temporary to begin with. But that's because, and let's just be real, we didn't inspect the vehicle. When I get up in the morning and I go to get in my car, my son's car is parked not far from mine. And what I do is I go to the front of my car. I check my driver's side. I look on the tires. I look on the side of the doors. Then I go to the passenger side and I look at the same thing. Do the tires look low? Do the air looks low in the tires? Do it look like something's wrong? And then I walk a few cars down because, thank you, darling, because my son parks not far. I go and I do the same thing for his car. I go and check his tires. I go and make sure his car looks okay. But we don't inspect the vehicle when we get in. We see a vehicle, it looks nice, it looks like it's going to take us where we need to go. Oh God, this must be it. We didn't even consult him. We didn't even ask him. We just jumped in the vehicle. Oh, this vehicle looks real nice. Oh, this looks like a Lexus. Oh, this looks like this. Oh, looks like this. In actuality, we getting in the car. If anybody's seen the mask, we getting in the loaner car. Meaning it's temporary. But we thinking this is the car that's going to take us where we're going, and it's not. We got to make sure that we don't continue to let people use us over and over and over again. I'm a victim of it. I can sit here and honestly say I have done it. I have allowed it because I did not take the time to inspect the vehicle. And it's okay. It's a learning process. What happens or what tells the tale is, have I learned yet from what I've been through? Now I inspect everything. Hey, I got this. I want you to be a part of. Hey, Jolie, I want to come on a team. Hey, Jolie, I want to do this. Well, what is going to happen on this? Am I temporary or is this long term? And if we keep allowing people to treat us as spares, when we put a spare on the car, instead of us, now how many have done this? Instead of us using or I'm going to say, instead of us being the spare that we were supposed to be, temporary. I have something that you need, you have something that I need. So our connection is temporary, right? Instead of that being that, we keep trying to ride on the spare for longer than we supposed to. We keep trying to be the spare for longer than we're supposed to be. The spare is not meant to be on your car for 30 days, for 60 days, for 90 days. No. And then when you no longer work, when you're no longer valuable, and then they have to get rid of you, then we in our feelings. Stop being used over and over and over again. Just how we have to say, you know what, stop driving on this donut all around here. Let me just go to the tire shop and get a new tire. Let them inspect all the other tires to make sure it's good for me to move about and get to where I need to go, instead of continuing to try and be that spare. Oh, I can drive on it. Just have you ever, it was funny the first time I seen a flat spare. I said, how is the spare flat? It's because it's been used over and over and over. Did I say over? It's been used constantly. So what do you think happens when we constantly let people use us? We become flat. We ain't got nothing else to give. It's gonna get to the point where they're gonna be like, no, she ain't got nothing to give, child. Leave that one over there. Oh no, I tried that. Nope, she ain't got nothing to give. Nope, she done for. She good. Let's move on to somebody else. Don't be a spare in somebody's life, especially not longer than you have to. If I'm here temporarily, then I'm going to treat it as temporarily. Hey, let me make sure there's some air in there. So when it's time for me to move around, I can move around. But we let people use us as that spare. And I'm going to tell you where this message came from. I was watching, or me and my honey, we were listening or watching. No, we were watching when Queen Elizabeth died. And they were talking about how her father, how her journey, how she got into being Queen Elizabeth, right? And so her uncle, if y'all don't know the story, her uncle was supposed to step in, her father's brother, was supposed to step in to be king. And her uncle fell in love with this lady. But on that side of the world, it is frowned upon for you to marry a woman that has already been divorced. And the lady that he loved was a divorced woman. So he had to make a choice. Do I pursue the love of my life? Or do I do away with her and become king and be miserable? And he stepped away from the throne and married the love of his life. Now, what got me, because we had already been seeing I don't even know if it had anything to do with Queen Elizabeth. Was it Queen Elizabeth that the show was that we're watching? So it was talking about Queen Elizabeth. We are nowhere near done. It's so long. But what got me is because when they were doing the commentary on this little thing we were watching, they referred to Queen Elizabeth's father as a spare that wasn't supposed to be used. And I said, how dare? How dare you refer to him as a spare? You never intend to use your spare tire. It's just there just in case. Just in case something happens. Meaning, I don't have no plans on using the spare. Stop being connected in these circles where people have no reason or no intentions to use you. You know what? We ain't got no use for Jolie, but we'll let her stay around and make her think we need her for something. Make her think she's important. Stop getting in these circles and these hoods, and there is nothing feeding you. You're just there collecting dust under the rug, saying, "Hey, whenever y'all need to use me, I'm here." You know how lonely it is in there for a spare tire? You sit in there. By the time you pull it out, baby, you can tell it's been in there for I don't know how long. And then don't let the car be sold to different people, that spare is, they don't replace the spare. You get the same spare that came with the car when it was made in 2012. So if you go get this car, it probably got the same rust spare in the back. But when we are connected to when we're connected to those who don't value us, we're just like that spare. We're collecting rust. And then, thank you, love. So I'm going to use my dad for an example, because my dad, maybe a couple years ago, maybe it was last year, year before, my dad's car has always been a BMW. Love BMW. Love, love, love. So recently, in the last couple years, my dad bought a BMW. Wasn't brand new. I'm not a big fan of, I got to have a brand new, because there are certain models, certain things I like. So my dad shops. He looks at miles. He looks at maintenance. How many drivers and owners has it had? And so he takes his time in shopping for what he wants, right? Well, my dad went and got the paid cash for this BMW, right? It's like their SUV model. Beautiful. I mean, just beautiful. Makes me want to get a BMW. And my dad told me and Joelle that something told him to look in the car, and they didn't put a spare in the car. It didn't come with a spare because he didn't ask for it. And so what they explained to him was, well, adding a spare to the car, it did something to the weight of the car, and they needed it not to be like this. So they don't tell you that they don't put a spare in there. You just assume the spare is in there to be used. So we get in these vehicles who ain't even got no use for us, who ain't even trying to use no spare. They just got us alone to make us think that we're going to get used. Now, that word use to me has many different meanings. So let me tell you what I mean. You can say, oh, they never used me for that. And meaning they didn't allow you to bless others with your talent. They didn't allow you to be a part of the forefront, right? Or you can also say, they used me, meaning they took what you had to offer and still kept you in the background. I'm a great writer, so you use me to write your content. However, I don't have a say-so in anything. You don't know who wrote the content. There's no credit coming to me for the content being written. There's no, you think, okay, this is going to open doors for me to do something greater, and that greater is never coming. It's, next time. We'll see about next time. Yeah, we'll see about this. Let's talk more about this. Nothing ever happens for the spare. The spare has no genuine purpose except to be used to get it to something real. So it's almost as, why would I even want to be a spare? Why would I want to be a part of something that is not going to get me anywhere, that has no real intentions on putting me on a car permanently? Why would I want to be attached to anything that has no real intentions of helping me to become anything, but only to use me to get from point A to point B? Yeah, we got to let that marinate. We cannot be spares in this game. I want to be the tire. I want to be the permanent tire. And don't get me wrong, we have to change tires. Yes, I get it. But when you are a tire, you know that there's a greater purpose for you, because you are responsible for transporting the precious cargo. If you're the tire, then you have the privilege of transporting the gift that you have, the talents that you have. The spare is not responsible. Its only job is to get me home. So if home is around the corner, baby, that's all I'm good for. It's 2.5 miles. That's it. I want to be the tire where I'm responsible for the journey. The journey is long. Those tires get you there. If you plan a trip, how long is the trip? Man, the trip is by 18 hours. You trusting these tires to get you to and from that trip. That's a journey. We know that sparing ain't getting you there. I ain't got no use for the spare for this trip. I ain't got no use for the spare for that trip. Now I don't think the spare is really gonna do me justice. So leave it in the back. Just make sure it's there. Just make sure that the spare is still in the trunk, just in case we need to use it. I'm sorry, but I don't want to be a just in case option. How many of you want to be a just in case option? I don't. And I don't want anyone attached to me. I don't want them to feel like they are a just in case option. That's really all I had tonight. I just want us to really take the time to let that marinate and ask ourselves, look at every area, every situation of your life. What am I? What position do I play? Am I a tire or am I a spare in somebody's life? Am I okay with just being a spare? If that's what your sole purpose is and you have no, you don't care about that, hey, more power to you. But on my journey, I am way more than a spare. Let's reevaluate where we stand. Let's reevaluate what we want and the journey we want to have. If we are okay with being used and put in the trunk and left there until someone decides they want to use us, or do you want to be the tire? I don't want to be in the trunk. I'm tired of being in the trunk. I'm tired of being in the background. It's funny. I'm a movie head and music, and I look at White Chicks and the sisters. They had the little clique. They were in the background. They were the spares because they never got to come up and say anything. They just laughed at what they were told to laugh at. But then when you looked at the White Chicks and the clique that they were with, they all had a voice. I feel like they were all tires because they all motivated and they uplifted each other and they shared the spotlight. So you have somewhere you can't say nothing. You just a face to say that you're a part of the group. But there's no real purpose for you. So today, just ask yourself, am I a spare? And if I am, how do I change from that? I hope something I gave you was a benefit to you. I hope that it touched you in a way. And I hope it just helped you open your eyes to see where you stand in some of these ships that you're in. Relationship, business ship, friendships, situationship, whatever ships you're in. I hope that something I said will help you to reevaluate that and then also help you to make a decision on where you stand. Am I okay being a spare? I love y'all. I hope everyone has an amazing. We're on Monday evening. I will be going live for Transparency Tuesday from South Florida. I'm going to do some promotions for the tour and visit with family, see my sister, my cousins. So I'll be in Florida going live. So I'm going to make sure I keep it at 8 Central, which will be 9 o'clock their time, so I don't throw anybody off. But I hope you all have an amazing evening and talk to you later. Bye.